So, ready or not, the game's great. It's obviously an early access game, so expect some bugs and expect to deal with some weird glitches. But apart from that, I think this early access game has great potential. The way the developers are monetizing this early access game, though, is quite frankly abhorrent. There are currently two versions of this game. The standard edition for £30.99, or what they call the supporter edition for £88.32. £88 for an early access game. Even worse, the developers give the supporter edition of the game all of the updates early. So yeah, that's right. See that awesome YouTube video your favorite creator just released about the game that you own? Tough luck, buddy. You can't play it.
So that's against the rules, and you can't sit with us.
Unless you give the developers £88, that is.
Money!
How do the developers justify this, though? They say that people who buy the supporter edition are the most dedicated of their community and will help them fix the bugs for when the owners of the normal edition get the game.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
But on their own Steam page for the game, the developers justify releasing an early access because, and I quote here, "because we have achieved a viable product that players want to play and is fun, even in its incomplete state." So, players know they are buying into an incomplete game that may have bugs, may have glitches, and may take time to polish up. The developers have heard this and even put a message about it on their Steam page. And they still want to withhold content so that the cool kids club they've cultivated, full of people that have paid £88, can help them find bugs. This is what early access is all about. The message on the store page literally reads, "Get instant access and start playing. Get involved with this game as it develops." And then it goes on to say, "Note, this early access game is not complete and may or may not change further. If you are not excited to play this game in its current state, then you should wait to see if the game progresses further in development." This game is insidiously monetized and falsely advertised. They've created early access testers for the early access testers. They've got early access and earlier access if you pay them a nice little sum of £88.
Money!
That nightclub map that you've seen on the trailer for the Steam page, yeah, you can't play that yet. Unless you pay them £88, that is.
Money!
That MP5 10mm you see on the screenshots on the store page, yeah, you can't use that yet. Unless you pay them £88, that is. What? Oh, you want to see Mr. Krabs again? One last time.
Money!
All your favorite YouTubers, yeah, they're all posting videos with new content telling you how great the game is. So, gonna cough up that £80 yet? You can see why the developers have this option available, and it's disgusting. They know that people are going to cough up the money to play the content early. They've created an early access game and are now selling earlier access to it. The whole point of early access is that a small studio that might not have the funds to just set out and develop an entire game right at the start can give people access to the game, whatever they've got now and as it develops, for perhaps a discounted price or perhaps even for full price, so that they have the money to develop the game as they're going on. This whole supporter edition nonsense is just that. It's nonsense. Everyone that buys an early access game is supporting the company. This notion that they have to protect the normal early access players from the bugs that might be in the latest update is rubbish. What's even worse about this is it isn't like the people who've paid the normal price for the game don't have access to the game yet. It's not like they've pre-ordered it or they're waiting for it to release. The people that only paid the normal price for the game, the standard price, have access to just a shittier version of the game. We're going to look here in a minute and look at some screenshots and video comparisons of different levels. The game that the people who paid £30 get to play currently looks as if you got a university student and told them to imitate Ready or Not. You'll see on the nightclub levels, it just looks like a complete and utter different game. It looks like you've told somebody to copy it, and they've done a poor job of it. There's no reason that these updates should be locked behind a paywall. And if the developers are to be believed, and if the elitists on the forums are to be believed, who sit there high and mighty on their £80 pedestal and say that, "Don't worry, I'm going to fix the game for you. I'm going to report bugs for you." If they're to be believed, normal players of the game get this update a week or two earlier. Is a week or two going to be enough time to fix all these supposed bugs that are going to be found by these £80 beta testers, for lack of a better term, in this early access game? I don't think it will be. Void Interactive are claiming that this is the biggest update they've ever had to the game, and they think delaying release to what I will call the general public by 1 week is going to allow them time to fix every bug or make a big enough dent in it that the general public will have a better experience. It's utter rubbish. The only reason they have this monetization model in place is to milk the core of the community for all they've got, or to insidiously incentivize people to cough up more money than the game's worth for access now instead of waiting later. Some time has passed since I recorded the previous part of this video, and I've since been away and spoken to some of the people that work for Void Interactive through their Discord server. I haven't came away with a different point of view, but the situation is slightly different from what I first thought. So, after talking to some people from Void, it seems they never actually intended to release their game as Steam Early Access. Instead, they allowed people to buy the Supporter Edition from their website, or some other means, and only those who bought the Supporter Edition would get a key. They did this first without checking if it would be logistically possible to fulfill such promises, and are now backed into a corner having to uphold their original promises whilst also taking their game into early access. Whilst Void was selling keys to their game, Steam eventually stopped giving them keys, so they were no longer able to provide access to the game. Now this is pure conjecture on my part, but reading between the lines and assuming that Steam saw Void was selling extremely highly priced versions of the game, being sold to people under the promise that they'd be able to test the game if the development continued, Steam probably stopped offering the keys then. This then meant that Void Interactive had to release their game on Steam Early Access if they wanted to continue doing business, and this probably also binds them by the rules of Steam Early Access, giving consumers some actual rights if ever anything went wrong or Void Interactive just ditched the project. Due to Void never intending to release in Early Access, they now have to keep their promises to the people that already bought the Supporter Edition and also sell the game at a lower Early Access price for normal players. So Void had essentially not checked if their business model was going to be logistically possible to fulfill before they started taking money from people. Now they're backed into a corner having to fulfill their earlier promises to people that bought the Supporter Edition and people that are now getting early access to the game and are angry that people get updates before them for simply paying more. What's more is that I also asked Void Interactive employees if they had offered free access to the test branch to YouTubers. At first I got a sarcastic reply with the employee pretending like they didn't understand my question and then just not responding to me at all. This can be seen on screen now. So I asked him if I would be getting a response or if I could take his silence as a signal that they wouldn't be answering this question. This is the response I got. I can only speculate regarding this answer, but if the answer to my question was a resounding no, they don't provide free access to this server for YouTubers, I would imagine they'd just come straight out and say it. They can't piss anybody off or tread on any toes just by saying, nope, that's not something we do. But the way they want to dance around the question and don't give a straight answer sort of leads me to believe that they do provide YouTubers with free access to the testing branch, but they don't want to admit it because one, it makes it look bad to the early access people that are having to wait, and it also makes it look bad to the people that have had to cough up the £80 to get access to the very same thing they're giving YouTubers for free. The problem with allowing YouTubers free access to the testing branch is that they use it to make their content and then post that content to YouTube. Normal early access users of the game then get to see the YouTubers playing all the new maps, using the new content, playing with the new version of the game that they themselves can't access despite owning the very same game. This then feeds into the FOMO or fear of missing out and may insidiously drive people to buy the more expensive version of the game. I certainly don't think this is a concept that's lost on the developers, otherwise they wouldn't be given the access for free. If they give the access for free, they know they're going to recoup that lost revenue by investing in these YouTubers. They invest in the YouTubers by giving them a free version of the game and all the latest and greatest content, which they know people will watch their videos for. And in turn, people see that content, want to play it, realize they can't get it by just buying the normal early access version of the game, so then stump up the cash with that little FOMO and that excitement to get in on the new content and pay the ridiculously priced £80 version of the game, despite the fact that this option was only available to fulfill their earlier promises.